I'm gonna attempt to read a bunch of comments. So if you're into videos that are really long and you want to hear me read your comment, you should sit back, relax, and watch the video. Chris Rowland writes, Eubank versus Sanders at super middleweight will be bigger fight in UK than Canelo or GG. Sanders beats Eubank at 160, but Eubank has improved greatly now and holds one of the belts at 168. Who do you think will win against Eubank against Groves? For me, other 160 belt in February. I've said Eubank because Eubank, I just think he's more in his prime. I think George Groves, Chris Rowland, I think George Groves has more experience, but I think he's more, he has more mileage in his tank. You know, he's been in a lot of wars. And I think because he's one of those guys that has a lot of machismo and he likes to fight his opponent's fight a lot, I think that's gonna play a factor in this fight because Eubank is a good inside fighter, and if he's fighting on the inside against Eubank, I think he's gonna get taken. He's gonna get beat up in that fight. So yeah, I made a video. If you scroll back and look at my channel, I've made several videos talking about Chris Eubank Jr. versus George Groves. Maybe you haven't seen it, but yeah, I've gone into detail as to why I think Chris Eubank Jr. wins. So hopefully you could check that out. Chris Rowland. Chris Rowland also writes, or Rowlands. Also writes, if Sanders won against Truax, then a rematch with Eubank Jr. at 168 would be a mega fight if Eubank wins the belt from Groves and then wins the Super Series. Yeah, I do think Eubank will win the Super Series. And I'm definitely picking Sanders to beat Truax if he does decide to move up to 168. Again, Sanders isn't abandoning middleweight. He still is going to fight at middleweight, but I guess he wants to move up to 168 to see if he could fight Truax because he sees that as an easy title win. Okay, Jan Sun writes, you only saying that because he's not rushing to fight Lomachenko. Who would rush? You sound dumb as fuck, dude. No, I'm saying this because I've been saying this for months. Gervonta Davis has been ducking Vasily Lomachenko for months. Just like also his promoter, Floyd Mayweather Jr. has been ducking him. He was ducking him when he was a champion. If you're a champion, I don't care how young you are. I don't care if he's 22 years old. You need to fight the best in your division. And the best in his division is clearly Vasily Lomachenko. So he needs to man up and fight Vasily Lomachenko. Bottom line. Alberto David Lice writes, ask any boxer who faced Rigo in the ring, and they will tell you this was a fixed fight and it was about money. And I really enjoy watching both boxers, and I've been watching boxing for more than 20 years. Rigo would rather die than quit, but he was in need and he had to do it. More than 400 amateur fights and 17-0 in the professional fighters avoiding him. Many KOs, broken jaws. And you tell me that he quits? Jaja, really? Even Loma knows it. By the way, Alberto, this was a sarcastic video. I don't think he was actually paid, but hey, that's your opinion. Oh man, I'm going to butcher your name. Olaf Olav writes, you have not been looking at the right channels. A lot of boxing channels, mainly black, give Lomo no credit at all for the same reasons that Terence Crawford did not get credit. In my eyes, they should get credit, both of them. They schooled very good fighters. Yeah, I agree with you. They have schooled very good fighters. But one thing I will tell you is, you said you have not been looking at the right channels. I don't even watch boxing channels like that, to be honest. I really just focus on my channel. I mean, occasionally I'll watch Sporting Icons and Hitman Boxing and Mr. Boxing Today. But these days, I don't watch them as often as I used to. Before, I used to always watch the videos. And I'm just being honest, man. I don't watch them because, you know, I'm just really focusing on my channel. And, yeah, I watch them occasionally. So, yeah, it's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. It's not that I'm influenced by other channels. It's not that I'm influenced by I'm not influenced by other channels. It's my opinion. That's how I felt of the situation with Vasily Lomachenko and how they both have double standards, man. That's just how I feel. Oscar Torres writes, you're stupid. Please don't talk about boxing. You don't know shit about it. Okay, Roger Mayweather? You want some of that sugar? You want some of that sugar? Alright. Aaron Farlow writes, you sound very young. I am young. I'm in my 20s, bro. So please listen. Most people who hate will shut the fuck up once he beats AJ. Channels get shut down behind this shit. I don't think channels will get shut down behind that. I think if if Deontay Wilder beats AJ, I think a lot of channels that are big AJ fans, I think they will feel a little butthurt, but I think they'll get over it. I think they'll get over it. Again, I'm not the biggest Wilder fan, but at the end of the day, I'm not one of those channels that hate on him. I used to do it just to troll people, because I troll a lot of people. I troll a lot, but I don't really hate Deontay Wilder. I used to pretend like I was a big Deontay Wilder hater, but I'm not a hater. I'm not trying to be. I like making fun of Wilder. But yeah, I definitely think he could beat somebody like AJ for sure. I'm gonna butcher your name. I'm sorry. Arowolo Dutton writes, Americans went from being the best fighters to being the best excuse givers. How someone failed drug tests. How the only belt they had is the best belt. How we were not given. How this, how that. Please make your boy fight someone real, please. We want quality, not quantity. Even Takam, Ortiz, Brazil, virtually anybody out there has the better resume than Wilder. Another excuse for your excuses? Well, you say Americans went from being the best fighters to being the best excuse givers. You're saying that as if all Americans are like Deontay Wilder. Terrence Crawford is American. He's not like Deontay Wilder. He fights everybody. He wipes out his divisions. You can't say he's an excuse giver. Andre Ward fought everybody. You can't say he's an excuse giver. So, again, don't compare Wilder to don't act like every American boxer is like Wilder. Wilder's a cherry picker. Yes, he is. And he does these things to, and in my opinion, he's a protected fighter, but don't be comparing him to all the other fighters like every American does this. Anders McFarlane writes, Groves wins if he keeps it at range. He can also land a counter if the windmill gets inside and lets his wild hooks go. Eubank can only win by getting inside. So for me, Groves wins. But hell, yes, this is a risky fight. I agree with you, Anders McFarlane. I agree. I think the way to beat Chris Eubank Jr. is, I think the way to beat him is to fight him on the back foot, to outbox him. Keep it long, keep it rangy. Force him to come towards you. I think that's how you beat Chris Eubank Jr. I think just like Billy Joe Sanders proved, and he showed, he's one of those guys, like you said, that he wants his opponents coming at him so that he could let his combinations go. Because he's a good inside fighter. But I think if you take that away from him and you keep it long and you force him to come after you, I think that's when you could outbox him. I think he can be outboxed. So I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. And I'm going to actually heart the video. I think that's a good comment. Sean Newton Boxing writes, why become a hating channel? Boxing is great and 2017 was great. I'm not becoming a hating channel. I'm a troll channel, Sean Newton. I'm a trolls channel. And yeah, boxing was great in 2007. We had a lot of good matches. Canelo Alvarez versus Gennady Golovkin. Terrence Crawford became undisputed champion of the world. Vasily Lomachenko exposed Guillermo Rigondeaux. Andre Ward beat Sergey Kovalev. Keith Thurman fought Danny Garcia. Errol Spence Jr. beat Kell Brook in his backyard. And more. There's been a bunch of good fights. So I agree with you on that. There has been a bunch of good fights. Daryl Arthur writes, Lomachenko fans swear this dude can walk on fucking water. Never heard a fighter get so much praise with just 11 fights. Dude is a beast. But all this pound for pound talk is ridiculous. Meanwhile, Terrence Crawford is the only undisputed champion in the last 12 years. And they downplay all his accomplishments like it's no big deal. Yeah, I agree with you, Daryl Arthur. I agree with you 100%. They do. I don't care how anyone feels about this. I feel like Terrence Crawford has put in the work. Yes, Vasily Lomachenko, I'm not saying he's not talented. He is very talented, but the guy he's not wiped out his division. He's won one belt at 126. He's won one belt at 130. And people are acting like he's better than Terrence Crawford. Meanwhile, Terrence Crawford won belts at 135, won every single belt at 130. At 140. And watch Terrence Crawford move up. Daryl, watch Terrence Crawford move up to 147 and win a belt there. Then he'll be a 3-weight division champion. I wouldn't be shocked if Terrence Crawford moved up to 147, beat Jeff Horn, beat Keith Thurman, and beat Errol Spence Jr. and became the undisputed champion, and there'll still be people saying, oh, actually, Vasily Lomachenko is more deserving of being pound for pound king than someone like Terrence Crawford. It's a bunch of haters, Daryl. I agree with you. A lot of people don't like Terrence Crawford, but whatever. That's just the way it is. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Daniel Williams, good comment by the way. Daniel Williams writes, if he beats Ortiz and then fights Joshua, then I respect him. If Wilder beats Ortiz, then I respect him. But until then, he's a cherry picker fighting the likes of Chris Arreola, trying to fight people like Warziak. Is not a good champion and clearly pricing himself out on big fights. Yeah, I agree, Daniel Williams. I agree. I hope he beats no, I hope he fights Luis Ortiz. Not he beats, I don't care who wins that fight, but I hope he actually fights Luis Ortiz. Tim Nick writes, of course Wilder could do the cash out, and maybe he will, but if he wants to be one of the great boxers, he cannot do that. Wilder is an open question, and it's still a young heavyweight division after Vladimir retired. Yeah, I agree. The reason I made that video was because people don't give Wilder credit. Wilder could knock out everybody, and people will still discredit Wilder. People will still act like he's an overrated hype job because he cherry picked. Wilder did Tim Nick. Wilder, I know you're a big fan of Wilder, Tim Nick, but Wilder cherry picked a lot in his early days. So I think even if he did fight top quality guys, even if he did wipe out the division, he'll still get people, saying, he's a hype job. It's just the way it is. That's what I'm saying. He should just cash out because he's never gonna get credit no matter what. Tony Ja writes, people, especially in America, is very prejudiced towards Wilder, and it hurts me because Wilder is the American WBC champion. Yeah, people claim he fought nothing but buns, but it's really deeper than that. The dislike for Wilder is because he's black, dark skinned, hair corn-rolled, loudmouth, but actually self-confident. Individuals who sorry if I fucked that word up. Who doesn't fit the stereotype image of an American heavyweight champion, so he's judged and ridiculed for being the person he is. If Wilder was more of a light-skinned, clean-shaven, humbled, yes, Sir Mass type of individual, America, mainly white America, would embrace him dearly and accept him as their champion, despite him fighting bums per se. But any time a verbal and self-confident black man becomes a champion and doesn't fit the image of white America, they spew nothing but hate on him. Ask Muhammad Ali, or better yet, Cassius Clay. Look how they ridiculed Floyd Mayweather Jr. when he became Money Mayweather, but yet these black men were very confident with him themselves and wasn't afraid to speak their minds. But yet, on top of their boxing game, Ali, Mayweather, and Wilder all fought in the Olympics for this country. Yet Wilder is an undefeated champion and gets no respect. Not by what you claim as him fighting and knocking out bums, but you're intimidated by his image and blackness. And that's the truth because of America's racist ass thinking of its fellow countrymen instead of supporting him. You'll rather wish he will get beat because you can't stand the image of that he carries himself racist bastards. Now, I understand where you're coming from with this comment. I understand. I'm not black myself. I'm not black, but I do see that a lot of times black fighters do get criticized highly. Or fighters who happen to be dark skinned. I mean, guys like Terrence Crawford, he gets criticized highly, but a lot. And this guy has fought top, really, he's wiped out his division and stuff, and people still criticize him. I think the difference, though, with guys like Muhammad Ali or Floyd Mayweather Jr. is these guys actually fought top quality guys. When it comes to me, the reason I personally criticize Wilder, or I have done it in the past, was because strictly based on his resume. I didn't like his resume. Okay, when it comes to guys like Ali, Floyd Mayweather Jr., these guys, they also got hit, and yeah, maybe a lot of the hit had to do with people being prejudiced, people not liking them because they were black. But the difference is these guys actually fought top quality guys. So if I'm seeing someone criticizing someone, bashing them, I would feel like, okay, there's something wrong with that. Like, I'll be like, there's something wrong with that because these guys actually put in the work. So I would defend these guys. Like, okay, you guys keep criticizing these guys, but at least these guys put in the work. But when it comes to Wilder, I think the majority of people criticize him for the simple fact that he fights, that he has a lot of, basically a shitty resume. That's why. And I'm not saying that people don't like him because he's black. There's probably a bunch of people out there that don't like him because he's black. I get it. Or like you say, because he's arrogant, he's a loudmouth, or maybe he has cornrows, he's dark-skinned, as you say. Yes, there's probably some people out there that are racist and don't like him because of that. But I have a feeling the majority of people that don't like Wilder is strictly based on the fact that he doesn't have the best resume. At least that's how I feel when it comes to Wilder. If Wilder simply started fighting top guys that are worthy, I would be, kissing his ass, But that's just me, man. But yeah, I actually think it's a good comment. I like this comment. Okay, next comment. Salve. Oh man, I'm gonna butcher your last name. Ose Yogi. Impressive piece. Nice to see someone keeping it real. Unlike Nestor of The Boxing Voice. The Boxing Voice is spelled with T-H-A, by the way. The Boxing Voice. I just came across your podcast and I look forward to more insights. Well, thanks. I appreciate that, Salve. Jock Wilson writes, Hughie Fury was a runner, but Billy Joe Sanders won that fight in style. He's quick, no doubt about that. Look forward to him fighting Gigi. Yeah. Hughie Fury was definitely a runner. Billy Joe Sanders moved around the ring, but he actually let his hands go. He was more engaging. Unlike, what's his name? Unlike his countryman, Hughie Fury, who was really just running, but he wasn't letting his hands go enough. Zach Zonotti writes, you're such a troll, it's actually quite funny. Well, thank you, Zach. Or Zach. Thank you. Sean Newton Boxing writes, great fight for Dillian Whyte versus Lucas Browne. Everyone at heavyweight is 30 or older, brother. Are they? No. Anthony Joshua is 28. Dillian Whyte's 28. Jarrell Big Baby Miller is 28, 29. Wilder's barely 30 in his 30s. He's like 31 years old. Tyson Fury is, 29? Hughie Fury is about 23. There's a bunch of young heavyweights out there. But Lucas Browne, the reason I don't want to see that fight, because Lucas Browne has fought once in 2 years. Like, he's been inactive. I don't want to see that. I think he's old. He's like 39 years old. Lucas Browne's going to lose that fight. And of course, my cat has to interrupt me. Iback Aker writes, do you know anything about boxing? No, I know nothing. I absolutely know nothing. Okay, this guy right here, Super DJ 512, is probably the biggest Deontay Wilder fan out there. He's the biggest Deontay Wilder fan out there. I think he's his brother. So let's get ready to read this comment. Super DJ, the biggest Wilder fan, always comes to my channel, kissing Wilder's ass. Okay, let's see. Cash out. For what? Wilder beats them all. And if you don't believe it, then leave the excuses out and press for the fight. Save the money talk. Cause none of y'all are getting any. Including you, Super DJ. Save the nobody knows Wilder talk. Cause y'all know him. Unless you're calling yourself a fucking nobody. Something. Where? You see? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, wait. Something I would agree with. Save the he don't deserve the AJ fight talk, cause AJ wants to be undisputed and Wilder has what he supposedly wants. Save the Senate contract bullshit talk, because AJ is the A side and make all the demands, so he should be sending the contract. The negotiations can begin then. AJ isn't a fucking god. AJ has been wobbled by White, dropped by Vlad, and gassed in both those fights before he caught his second win and finished those fights. Parker has never been wobbled, never been dropped, and never gassed. I got AJ winning, but barely. If he gets clipped, he will get pummeled and may have to get up off the canvas again to win. If he gasses against Parker, he will get stopped. Neither of them beat Wilder at all. The only fighter with a chance to beat Wilder right now is Tyson Fury. Tell the fighters to stop ducking and fight Wilder if you think otherwise. Okay, whoa. Super DJ. Wilder's sexual moment right there. That was a big Wilder sexual moment. Well, listen, man, I never said that Deontay Wilder can't beat AJ. Matter of fact, I think that's a 50-50 fight. He could beat him if he lands. I also think it's a 50-50 fight between him and Joseph Parker. You are a big Wilder fan. I see you in all the comment section and other videos. I see you've left comments on my other channel and You're a big Wilder fan. I get it. You think Wilder's unbeatable. I'm surprised you say you think Tyson Fury beats him, considering the fact that Tyson Fury is morbidly obese at this moment. But I guess you're smart enough to realize that Tyson Fury is the kryptonite to someone like Wilder because he could actually box. And maybe you saw the fact that Arthur Spilka was able to outbox Deontay Wilder. So maybe because you saw that, you realize, well, imagine if someone like Tyson Fury were to box him on the outside and keep it long, he'd be able to beat him. So, you know, you're pretty smart there. Super DJ writes again. What the hell are you talking about? Who did Wilder avoid? What top competitor did Wilder avoid? When did he cherry pick a fighter when another fighter was there to be fought? Y'all are pathetic. Wilder would kill White in 4 rounds. Wilder would KO AJ easily. Wilder will KO Ortiz in 6 rounds if that. These cowards are scared to death to fight Wilder and will make every excuse in the world to avoid him. Hey, man. Here we go again. Hey, man. That's a Wilder, that's a Wilder sexual moment right there, man. Hey, if you want to be a fanboy, hey, that's your problems. Juan Ledez writes, Vladimir Klitschko, Vitaly Klitschko, Brian Jennings, yeah. Vladimir Klitschko, he never fought him. Brian Jennings was been calling him out. You know, Brian Jennings was going around calling out Deontay Wilder in 2014, 3 years ago. So yeah, I agree with you, Juan. Boxing Clever Round 2 writes, I have followed Chris Eubank Jr.'s career from the start as I like his father and I am a big fan of his. I have always liked Billy Joe Saunders, but the fight with Lemieux has put him on a whole new level to me as a fan than he was before. I think it would be a wise to call it a 50-50 fight from a betting point of view. But the excuse me. Oh man, excuse me, sorry about that. But the fight Billy Joe Saunders versus Eubank, in my opinion, was wrongly scored. If you turn off the sound and the very biased commentary and scored the fight, you get a Eubank win. Eubank wins at least 2 of the first 6 rounds, and he was supposed to have lost with the sound off and no commentators influencing what your eyes see. You will see that a lot of Billy Joe Saunders punches were landing on the gloves of Eubank, and they were being called as point strikes by the commentators, and then Eubank got good work in. The commentators were not mentioning it. All that in the first 6 rounds, Eubank was supposed to have lost. I had him winning 2 for sure, and even around in the first 6, I had Eubank winning by a good margin by the end of the fight. Everyone nearly who sees the fight without sound has said the same thing. Eubank was robbed of a win. As to a rematch, both fighters have improved equally in their own ways to me, but Eubank has enough good movement now coupled with power to win the fight. However, the safe bet is 50-50. I haven't watched Boxing Clever Round, so I have not watched Eubank versus Billy Joe Saunders in a long time. So I have to watch it again. And you have to remember, I know you're talking about the commentators were very biased. Maybe they were biased for Billy Joe Saunders, but at the end of the day, the commentators weren't the ones scoring the fight. The guys who scored the fight were the judges, right? The 3 judges. So they're the ones to blame if you think that Billy Joe Saunders got a gift decision over Chris Eubank Jr. Again, I don't know if I agree with you on this point. I haven't watched the fight in a while. I have to rewatch the fight to see. Or maybe watch it with like the sound off as well to see how I feel about that, about what you just said. Carl Bronton writes, you're making yourself into a joke, Lemieux. No one would want to pay to watch you get a beating of either Gigi or Billy Joe Saunders. You're a busted fuss. Yeah. He doesn't deserve that fight. He already lost to Billy Joe. He got schooled against Billy Joe Saunders, and he lost every single round against Gennady Golovkin. Nobody wants to see that fight. Arian Pryor writes, AJ is scared. What part of scared don't you understand, casual? Oh, yeah, I'm a casual. Thanks, bro. Tim Nick replies, laugh out loud. I think Kern is scared more than AJ. Oh, yeah, I agree with you, Tim Nick. James Carpenter writes, the keyboard ninja is back. Deontay's juicing dripping off his chin. Chauncey Lautner writes, David Lee Miss. Oh, that's funny. David Lee Miss needs to rewatch his one-sided defeat by Sanders and grow the fuck up. Yeah, I agree. That was funny. Kyo Wachasi writes, Sanders played the Mayweather playbook, run, duck, hold, slip, duck. He did, however, land some shots. So Sanders did fight in spots. If Lemieux had a better night, it would have been a closer fight. All you Mayweather fanboys love it when you see a fighter running around the ring like a chicken without a head. There's a difference between a James Tony Pernell, Whittaker, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Mayweather clone. First of all, Lemieux had a good night. It's just Lemieux wasn't good enough to compete with someone like Billy Joe Saunders. He just wasn't. Billy Joe Saunders was just too fast and when it comes to foot speed. David Lemieux had slow foot speed. And who's comparing Billy Joe? I didn't compare Billy Joe Saunders to someone like James Tony Pernell Whittaker. First of all, these guys they're a little different. James Tony's more of a defensive fighter. James Tony never moved around. He never, used his foot speed. James Tony was flat-footed. You ever look at James Tony? I've been watching. I watch boxing for. I wasn't born when James Tony was in his prime, but I watched some of his tapes, and James Tony never used his foot speed because he was slow. He was a flat-footed fighter, but he was a defensive genius, so he would use his upper body movement to evade punches. So I don't know why you're comparing him to Billy Joe Saunders. Totally different style. Whittaker's kind of the same way. Sugar Ray Leonard had fans. You could compare Sugar Ray Leonard and Mayweather to someone like Billy Joe Saunders. But again, who in the hell is going around saying Billy Joe Saunders is Sugar Ray Leonard? I don't understand that. And so what? Where you're saying that he can't fight like Mayweather? Mayweather and Sugar Ray Leonard aren't the only fighters that have the ability to fight like that, man. Mosty writes, it's Saunders, not Sanders. This video gets rating after 15 seconds. Well, too bad. I bet Aki writes, the only person that would back Wilder would be a delusional person like him. But Wilder could win if he lands that punch, dude. Gary Smith writes, nah, you just looking for that retirement check. Oh, yeah. I don't think he deserves that fight, Lemieux. John Doe writes, David Lemieux comment is classic projection. Majestic Joker writes, Wilder might even let Ortiz beat him so he doesn't have to fight AJ Fury or Dillian Monster. I don't think he'll do that because he wants that payday. He would get paid a lot of money fighting Deontay Wilder. So I don't agree with that. You're trolling. Antonio McCray writes, Juan Letters writes, Wilder will intentionally lose to Ortiz so he doesn't have to fight Dillian White. I find that unlikely. Yeah, I agree. Juan Letters, I agree with that. Antonio McCray replies, and unrealistic. Yeah. Why would he purposely lose to someone like I said, like these guys are saying, like Luis Ortiz? If that would be dumb. Because then he'll never fight AJ. And if he fights Anthony Joshua, he'll be making like 10 million, 15 million. So why in the hell would he purposely lose to him to avoid making that $15 million paycheck? He would have to be really stupid and dumb to do that. And again, why would he even avoid Dillian White? Nobody's scared of Dillian White, man. I'm sorry. Nobody's scared of Dillian White. Majestic Joker then writes again, Wilder is a joke world chump. He's never had any real fights. He wouldn't even beat Dillian White. Never mind shooting his mouth off against AJ or Tyson Fury. He would even beat Parker. He lives in his own fairy land. Hand-picking fights, clinging on his belt. I do agree that he has been cherry-picking his whole career, but I don't think that he loses to Dillian White, and I think he does have a chance against Anthony Joshua. The biggest Deontay Wilder fanboy replies, Super DJ, laughing my fucking ass off. You're fucking retarded. Wilder would kill White in 4 rounds. I agree with you, Super AJ. And if AJ or anyone else could beat Wilder, then why all the excuses? Why the money talk? The nobody knows Wilder talk. The he can't sell tickets talk. You're pathetic. Juan Diaz replies to the Wilder sexual. Wilder priced himself out before negotiations could even start, like he did with Povetkin, before he was forced to make the fight when he became mandatory. He did price himself out. Majestic Joker writes, I was never a Sanders fan until he beat Eubanks. I never thought he would be good enough. Then after watching him beat Lemieux and the way he did it is making me sit up and want to see him fight Jacobs. If he beats Jacobs, he will have earned his showdown with GGG. For me, that will be a huge fight worth pay-per-view or paying to watch. Hey, well, this is a comment I could agree with you, Majestic Joker. I do think if he beats Daniel Jacobs, then yeah, Him and GGG or Canelo Alvarez would definitely be, because a lot of people think that Daniel Jacobs beats Gennady Golovkin. So yeah, that'll be a good fight. I agree with you. Donald Trump. Oh man, the president of America wrote in my channel. Donald Trump replied to me. I'm famous now. Donald Trump replied to me, and he writes, "Oh God, I haven't seen the entire video, but I feel dumber just reading your name. Thank you. Thank you, Donald Trump. The president of the United States wrote to me. I am in awe." True Filter writes, Lemieux needs to check his sodium levels. Okay, James Carpenter writes, people won't give Wilder credit because he hasn't got any good fighters on his record. I bet the sidesteps Ortiz for Brazil. I bet he sidesteps. He might. And I agree, James Carpenter. I agree. I totally agree. He might. I hope he doesn't, though. I don't want him to fight Dominic Brazil. That's an easy fight for him. I want him to fight Ortiz. Phil Molly next writes, he hasn't had to develop a style due to fighting bums. He has a good engine, and he hits very hard. He won't last long when he starts fighting top-notch opponents, though. He moves exactly the same as he did in the amateurs. Kind of creeps about waiting to land that big shots, but that won't work against proper opponents. I do agree. I do think that Wilder tends to give away rounds. Like, a lot of times he gives away rounds in there. Especially when he's in there with a guy who's more technical than him. He gives away rounds, so I actually agree with this. And yeah, he definitely will lose if he fights the top-notch guys. I'm not saying he'll lose to all of them, but he definitely, one of them will find him out and beat him. Mr. Green Wizard writes, whiny ass bitch needs another pasting for the shit that he talks. Funny comment, Mr. Green. Dean Lackey writes, Golovkin thinks he has 3 or 4 more years. His body feels good. Why are you talking this shit? Because it's my channel and it's my opinion, dude. Dean Lackey writes, really? You want a rematch? Wait, you want to rematch GGG? Really? Don't think he will fight you again, David. Boring fight for him. The same result. Yeah, he'll lose. He'll lose to GGG. He'll get knocked out. He'll quit again. I'm gonna butcher your name. I'm sorry. Avatar Sidhu writes, I definitely give credit to Wilder for beating Ortiz. It's a massive step up. I expect Wilder to be punished badly if he makes the same types of mistakes as he did against Szpilka, and I don't think his technique has improved much. I still wouldn't be surprised if the fight falls through, though. Yeah, I agree with you. I also give him respect, and I hope it doesn't fall through, man. I hope it actually goes through. I don't play replies to Avat. Szpilka was a bit trickier being smaller and mobile, but Ortiz wouldn't give Wilder that kind of... I agree. I agree. They're two different styles. And he's also much faster than Luis Ortiz on his back foot. Barry the Baptist writes, I think Brazil would be a real test, but who knows? I don't, Barry. I think that he will lose, but... You know, he does have a lot of heart. I will say that. Philip O13 writes, good fighters have come and gone during Wilder's career. He avoided them all. Yeah, I agree. He avoided a bunch of people. Barry the Baptist writes, agreed. May Klitschko being the main one. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you guys. Scene Davis writes, man got schooled just like he did against GG loser. Yeah, he did. Rick Floss writes, pricing himself out. Bomb squad. Yeah, I agree. Unknown writes, Bernard Hopkins watched Billy Joe Sanders most the fight. Wait, what? Okay, I do not understand that. Nathan 7 Grimstar writes, Lemieux the pussy. Yes. Oh man, I'm gonna butcher your name. I'm sorry. Hasman Khalik writes, Lemieux is the one who should be embarrassed. He's the one who got absolutely schooled. Lemieux got beat by Rubio and Incline, who are both journeymen. He had no business being in there. Was Sanders. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Good comment, man. Scott Curtis writes, David Lemon Chef of sore taste. Steve BB writes, whatever gets him through the night. Funny comment. Richard Knight writes, Jesus, kid, just stop. No, I'm not going to stop. Shamas, oh my god, Asai writes, laughing my fucking ass off, Billy Joe took you back to school. He did. Walter, oh, I'm not even going to pronounce your last name, bro. Walter writes, Billy Joe Sanders, come fight me. I'm ready to go 100 million with you and take the belt. Don't think you are the best since you win, Lemieux. Ian Cooper writes, as if GG is bothered. Yeah. Heard it all before. Ian Cooper writes again, he ran all night but got his face smashed up. He's a mug with many losses. Billy Joe Sanders is undefeated. What are you talking about? James, I'm gonna put your last name, so I'm just gonna say James. You lost, mate, to a better man. He sent you to school, you faggot. You washed up one trick pony. Okay. John Bradley writes, good video. At least you know you're boxing, bro. Well, thank you. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. Paul Smith writes, outclassed, mate. Called boxing. Yeah. Northwest 95 writes, you get fucked, you silly cunt. You're wank. Mark Smurfs writes, fuck right, you frog fuck. If that was Floyd Mayweather, it would have been a masterclass. Yeah, I agree. 32 City Man writes, you got schooled in the art of boxing in your own country. Take it like a man. Yeah, he did. He did. He got schooled in Canada, bro. He got schooled in Canada, bro. Man, I reply, yo, he got schooled in Canada, bro. Replying to you live, cuz. Winston Smith writes, I think Lemieux had a secret tactic. He was going to wear out Billy Joe's gloves on. Ah, that's funny. All I have to say to this comment is great comment. Great comment. Kevin Melvin writes, although I like come forward big punches, it's called the sweet signs, David. Yes, bro. Lee Hicks writes, he should be embarrassed since from the first bell. Man up, Buttercup. Yo, Lee Hicks called you Buttercup, David Lemieux. Bill Denmas writes, Crawford is 5'9", Gamboa is 5'5", Lomachenko is 5'6", and Rigo is 5'4". Do the math. Crawford struggled with Gamboa for a while. Lomachenko played with Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux didn't fight at 118. First of all, Crawford is 5'8". Crawford is 5'8". Gamboa is 5'6". You do the math. Lomachenko is 5'7", and Rigondeaux is 5'3". And Rigondeaux did turn pro at 118. You do the math. The real bad guy writes, French fried faggot. Damn, son. He called him a faggot. Mr. James writes, it's called boxing, you one-dimensional prick. Plus, he busted your nose and bashed you all about. Talk about sore loser. Craig Miller writes, what pathetic excuse for a pro. You got beat convincingly, except that he did. I love all these comments from my Lemieux. Yo, my Lemieux video got so many views. I made a lot of money in that video. I'm not trying to brag, but damn, I got a bunch of views in that video. Poker Clown 79 writes, so yeah, I appreciate all the views I got for that video, guys. Poker Clown 79 writes, people would have more respect for David if he took his L like a man. Give his props and learn from it and move on. But instead, he's winning. He's whining because Billy Joe Sanders didn't stand still and let him tee off. Yeah, I agree. Great comment. Great comment, Poker. I agree, Poker. Great comment, bro. Great comment, bro. No. Okay. Barry the Baptist writes, great video, very honest assessment. Oh, thank you, Barry. Thank you. Barry the Baptist writes again, if he beats Ortiz, then okay, he'd be a decent fighter. But still, I don't think Ortiz is any great fighter. He's 38 years old, not particularly fast. And when he fought in England, he was very limited. But still, I'd give Deontay Wilder big respect because Ortiz is a good technical fighter. As for this fight, well, as long as Wilder keeps at range, he should win. As for their chins, both are a little untested. Hey, great comment, Barry. Great comment. I agree. Good comment, man. ABC123 writes, Lamb's loser is shit and Lemieux is shit and got schooled by a way better fighter. Some of his punches reach Mars and back. CM Punk of Canada Boxing. Shout out to CM Punk. John Haig writes, Lemieux is thick as pig. Shit, one-dimensional, yeah. The Hawk writes, there must be some journeyman punching bag that Wilder can add to his resume. Makes him look good. Will Gibbons writes, his name is fucking Sanders, not Saunders. I'm sorry, Will. I'm not good at pronouncing names. Forgive me, Will. Okay, Lee Smith writes, no, you French frog, you should be embarrassed. You got took to school big time. Couldn't even land a shot. You got owned last time. I saw a one-sided fight like that was Calzaghe versus Lazy. Oh! He called you Calzaghe versus Lazy, man. You're gonna take that Lemieux. Spug 981 broke his hand punching air. PMSL. Keegan 773 writes boxing lesson given to a fighter who looked like a novice. Boxing is not just about hitting the opponent, but also not being hit yourself. I totally agree, Keegan. Dean Winfield writes, he outboxed you, stupid man. Mike Tyson, oh shit, Mike Tyson wrote on my channel. I'm famous. Mike Tyson wrote on my channel. Did anyone see Lemieux face after the fight? It was smashed up. He got schooled, yeah. He did. Mike Tyson. Tyson replied to my channel, man. Andy Frogs writes, all Yanks say Sanders. It's Sanders. I'm sorry for being a Yank. I'm sorry. Saunders. Sirius Black. Oh, Harry Potter. Sirius Black. It's Saunders. Stop saying Sanders, you fucking cockchuck. You see how I get treated by UK boxing fans. The UK boxing fans. This is why I tell people when guys like people give me shit when I say Hughie Fury's name. Hughie Fury. That's not how you say his name. And you see how people are giving me shit when I say Sanders instead of Saunders. Hey man, I'm not from the UK. Give me a break. The Warrior Code writes, Eubank wins. I agree. Totally agree, man. Jimmy O'Neill writes, you're not as fat as a Gypsy King. End of it, Billy Joe. Yes. Luke O'Connor writes, FS, it's pronounced Saunders. Saunders, not Sand. Okay. You see all these UK boxing fans giving me shit? I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Okay, Barry the Baptist writes, who has Wilder fought? Who has Miller fought? Wilder's last fight was a fix. It had to be. How does a man who had one fight against a journeyman who Ollie Harrison flattened and he struggled to a points win against gets a mandatory at the WBC? Fix. Then he comes in and someone rigging 260 pounds at least on Fight Night falls over off a jab. Complete fix. And your question information, AJ's and White's opponents get real. Brazil should have got that fight, not Stavern, and everyone knows it. Hey man, Dillian White has been fighting bums himself, Barry. You know this. Who has he fought? He hasn't fought anyone. And Miller has fought some decent opponents. Alright guys, you know what? I'm going to end the video now because there's so many more comments. Well, maybe I should read one more. There's just so many comments I've received. I've received so many comments. This video is so long. This video is so long. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna stop the Crawford will school Spence. I agree. Yeah, I agree with you too, John Nice like. Barry the Baptist bullshit. Dillian White isn't afraid of anyone, and who are you calling bums? Brazil would beat Miller, and in my opinion, will fight. Hell no! Brazil will get the crap beat out of him against what's his name? Miller. Get out of here with that shit. Oh man. I get way too many comments, guys. So yeah, I hope you guys appreciate this video. I appreciate when you guys comment. Thank you guys. If you watched the whole video, I love you, man. You're the best. If you watched the whole video, and yeah, guys, this video is just way too long. It's time for me to end it. So yeah, guys, see you guys next time.